Hockey's a crazy game, and here are 10 stories you as a hockey fan need to know about. We all know hockey is a little bit of a tribal sport. We tend to stay in our ecosystems and our bubbles of our safe spaces. That is our team, our franchise, and our favorite players. So some of these stories may eluded you, but if you are an avid hockey fan and a big hockey watcher, and hey, let's say it, you are if you are watching this channel, then these might be a nice recap for you with a few points and well-known thoughts that you didn't consider. So with that being said, let's knock down the best 10 stories in the NHL at this point, December 2022. The polarizing Bruins at the point of making this video are 13-0 at home. What an unprecedented advantage for the Bruins. And you know why? They're top 5 in all key categories in the NHL right now. What are those key categories? Well, they're shots. We call it Corsi. They're high danger chances. You heard me tell about this all the time. Get the best chance, not just a chance. And then for actual goals going in the net. So if you're getting a lot of shots, if they're dangerous and you're capitalizing, you are a top NHL team. And that's exactly what the Boston Bruins are right now. You're outscoring your opponents. It's what you want to see. They also have one of the deepest center cores in the NHL right now. Bergeron, Krejci, and Coyle. Bergeron has been unheralded as one of the best players in the NHL in the modern era. Fight me on it down below in the comments if you disagree. David Krejci, his year over in Europe has only helped him, and Charlie Coyle moving down to where he belongs on the third line is a very serviceable, above serviceable third line center for the Bruins. Their D-core is finally healthy, so everybody is back, even though the perfection line doesn't play together. You got your three big assets up front, although divided. Jake Brusk is looking amazing, but the big story to talk about is going to be the fact that you got McAvoy, Grzelcyk, and Hampus Lindholm all on fire, healthy, and back ready to go, baby. Their goalie, Linus Ullmark, actually ranks within the top 5 of goalies in the NHL. Who saw this one coming? Not Coach Ryan D. If you're an avid Bruins fan, you know I'm a big advocate for Jeremy Swayman, but you want to see your team win and you want to see greatness, so Ullmark might have just needed a year. He's looking awesome. And finally, they're having fun under veteran Jim Montgomery. Monty's got these veterans playing like kids again, and sometimes when they say you got to let the boys play, maybe they should switch that to you got to let the men play. This veteran team knows what they're doing. They're led by one of the best cores in the NHL, one of the best captains in the NHL. Montgomery knows this. He's taken the reins off and he's let the boys flex. So that is number 10, the Boston Bruins home win streak. Before we get to number 9, make sure you hit thumbs up, subscribe down below. It's free. And hey, think about joining the coach's staff down below with the join button if you want to support Coach Ryan D for $1 or $5 a month. All proceeds go to getting more gear, making more content, paying for more ridiculous subscriptions to hockey content so we can talk about the best in the NHL. But don't forget, the free thumbs up and the free subscribe is always appreciated and a great way to go. Now, moving on to number 9, it's the big cats being neutered. Meow, run away. Paul Maurice has neutered these big cats. There's a couple reasons for it. Look, Florida is still an absolutely dominating team, but Paul Maurice, with his tenure in Winnipeg, although it was contentious and although I do think he is a very good coach, he doesn't tend to favor young, speedy, modern tactics when it comes to hockey, specifically in the neutral zone. So we call that the transition game. Paul favors a more passive system and he favors more strong side support, meaning he wants a lot of puck support. He wants a lot of veterans in the right place and he wants to play guys that are going to follow his system to a T. He also backs into the zone more and accepts more defensive zone pressure as opposed to being aggressive within the neutral zone, specifically creating turnovers at the red line or the blue line. So unfortunately, that part of the game has been removed from the Florida Panthers, it seems to me, from Coach Paul Maurice. I've watched a lot of Florida this year. I was very interested in it, and their threat to score in the neutral zone has been depleted to almost zero. The old delete. Delete! 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 Florida was the #1 team in the NHL last year at scoring from the neutral zone, causing neutral zone turnovers, and scoring. Sometimes your best defense is a good offense, and that is really what they focused on last year in Florida. Now, Paul has taken that more passive system, and if you want to know what that system is, follow me over here. You know what this is. It's available down below. It's Coach Jack Hahn's book over all systems in the NHL. Now, we're going to take a look at Winnipeg here, and yes, it has Coach Dave Lowry, but Lowry studied under Paul Maurice. They used almost identical systems last year, so if we move down to the Florida team, we can see what they're doing last year. Their offensive zone play with Coach Paul Maurice was actually a 2-1-2. That means you have your third forward up high here, cycling up high to down low within the middle. This is a little bit of an antiquated system. I'm not a huge fan of it. It just doesn't allow the freewheeling tendencies that I'd like to see from a team like the Florida Panthers. Paul's forecheck is a basic meat and potatoes 1-2-2. There's nothing wrong with that. It's typical in the NHL today. His neutral zone forecheck, though, is where I point out that they're very passive. A 1-1-3 is a very passive neutral zone forecheck. A 1-2-2 is a much more aggressive one. He has both within his arsenal, but what it really means is F3 comes back and you're not really trying to force those turnovers as much as I would like in that neutral zone. And finally, his defensive zone breakout to rush is very simple. They overload the strong side. This isn't going to favor a team like Florida. Florida needs to get wide. They need to stretch the ice across the entire length, and you need to start sending cross ice passes up and through the middle and slashing that way. That is what Florida does and what makes them so deadly. They're so quick. They're so fast. They have so much talent. You don't really need to be overloading one side here like Paul Maurice has. So this is a very safe system to use, but this isn't a system that's going to let the boys play. Take a look at what Florida was doing last year under Andrew Brunette and Joel Quenneville. They have a very tight 1-2-2-4 system, very contrast and contrarian to what Paul Maurice likes to use. And then when we even take a look at the defensive zone breakout, take a look at the width and that length. Look, Coach Ryan D ain't that dumb. He seems to know what he's doing here. Width and length on the ice as they're attacking. That allows your young, talented players to slash through the middle. Even on defensive zone coverage, yes, they're really tight, but as soon as they get out of their tight defensive zone coverage, they spread out really quickly and they attack. This has been taken away this year from the Florida Panthers under Coach Paul Maurice, and even though they're actually in the top 5 categories for a lot of different ones, you can see it here on the screen. Corsi, goals for, those are really good high danger chances, and goals for, they're in the top 10, but they are definitely not finding success due to this passive system. So I gotta say, they have been a little bit neutered under Coach Paul Maurice, and if you want to learn more about that amazing book down below from Jack Hahn, the affiliate link is down there. You can take a look at all 32 teams' NHL systems. Proceeds go to support this channel, and hey, even if you're an NHL 22 player, he's even got a guide on getting better at that. I'm absolutely terrible at it. I don't like the game. I'm super frustrated, but I know there's a lot of Chell maniacs out there, so maybe it will help you out. But like, seriously, the coaching guide is great. The Chell guide, no idea. I'm bad at the game. Moving on to number 8, teams that went back to normal. The Flyers, the Sabres, and the Hawks were really worrying me there at the beginning. They were overperforming, and now here we are in the basement where we expected them to be. Really sorry to the fan bases that got super high on them, especially the Sabres. They always do this at the beginning of the year, but then the law of averages always comes in. People ask all the time, Coach Ryan D, why do you use statistics? Because in the NHL regular season, not necessarily the playoffs, in the regular season, you can only control what you can control, and through an 82-game sample size, those stats will definitely be relevant. And that's what happened to the Sabres. Started off hot, and now they are 2-7-1 in their last 10. Ouch! Previous to this last 10, when they were on their winning streak, they were number 3 in shot attempts, and they were number 18 for high danger chances for. So they were getting a lot of shots, but they weren't dangerous chances. So if the name isn't Tage Thompson, who is scoring at an absolutely ridiculous pace, by the way, these shots weren't super high quality. So they've unfortunately ended up falling off, even though they had the volume, they didn't have the quality. The Blackhawks tank, great success.
Great success.
6-11-4. What 4-gamer? They had a 4-game win streak. Outside of that, they are headed to the basement in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes by design of management. And Torts, the Flyers, the Torts overperforming factor is always there. They went on a 10-game losing streak after a 4-1 start. So they never made any of our power rankings. They were in consideration for like week 1. But other than that, everything is back to normal. I expect it to stay that way. Number 7 is the crazy player stories in the year. 107-point pace for Tage Thompson. redonkulous shooting percentage from this guy. If you haven't heard about him, seen about him, tune into a Buffalo Sabres game. He is a great reason to watch, along with guys like Owen Power and especially Rasmus Dahlin. The return of Erik Karlsson, 104-point pace, blowing out any other defenseman in the NHL right now, if he can maintain it. And you know what? People say that's a big if. I say it's Erik Karlsson. He's one of the most talented defensemen of a generation that we've ever seen. He seems healthy, and he's getting a lot of minutes down there in San Jose. Elias Pettersson. Hello, my name is Elias. Elias Pettersson, number 2. No, really, ranked number 2 in the NHL for overall player contribution. We call that goals above replacement, a 10.3. So if you are a Vancouver Canucks fan and you want to dunk on your friends and tell them you have the number 2 player in the world, you can do that, and Coach Ryan D will stand behind you, although I don't really believe it. But we all take stats with a grain of salt. Jack Eichel for the Selke. Guess what? He is number 1 in defense. Wild. Absolutely wild. Jack is the number 1 defensive forward in the NHL right now. Yes, that is above Patrice Bergeron and Auston Matthews. And then goalies. What the f? So, you know those days you're just sitting here cruising sites like Evolving Hockey to see, oh my God, Ilya Sorokin is the number 1 goalie in the NHL, followed by Connor Hellebuck, Carter Hart, Linus Ullmark, Darcy Kemper, Alexander Orive, Carell? I'm not going to lie, I don't follow Arizona. I don't know who this is. Some guy from Arizona, Stuart Skinner, UC Saros, and Logan Thompson from the Vegas Golden Knights. If I would have told you at the beginning of the year that that was going to be your top 10, you would all think I was banana sandwich. There is absolutely no Andrei Vasilevsky. There is no Igor Shesterkin on that list. There's a couple names like Hellebuck and Saros that we would expect, but no, you did not have guys like Logan Thompson and even Carter Hart in this list. Sorokin, not that much of a surprise. Pretty elite. Number 6 is a bit of a homer pick, see behind me there, but guess what? It is correct. I am a guy that was not high on the Jets coming into this season. They have no captain. They have a coach that doesn't have an interim tag, but has a 1-year deal, exited after the 2-year deal after they lost Barry Trotz. I was not feeling good about this team coming in this year. Fool me once, shame on you. And they did it. Fool me twice, which was last year. Shame on me. I bought into the hot goalie narrative. But fool me 3 times, and, well, egg on your face. The Jets are in first, and I'll take it. It's the best thing to be wrong about. And there's one reason for it, and his name is Connor Charles Hellebuck, number 2 in the NHL, as you've just seen. The coaching change, little things, habits and lines, they actually make sense. Congratulations, Rick Bowness. You are an amazing coach. You were really flexing the muscles. And for my fans over there in Winnipeg who are stark defenders of Paul Maurice, I love Maurice as much as the next guy. Met him a bunch of times. Wonderful human being, great coach. But I'm telling you, coaches have a 5-year shelf life. After their voice loses some weight, they have to move around. So a new coach comes in, new players get a chance, little things change. Now we can see it. You don't want to get stuck and be too loyal to one coach or even one GM for too long. Josh Norrisy, baby, 94-point pace. This guy is actually pushing for it, but unfortunately, he's got Cale Makar, Miro Heiskanen, and Erik Karlsson in front of him. All bigger names from bigger markets. The Associated Press will not give it to him, but he is playing at a Norris caliber level. There's a committee approach. Everyone on the Jets is fine. There's no superstar other than Josh Morrissey and Kyle Connor, who even then, most players, most personnel, most fans, you pick who you want. Just anybody watching hockey, they're not really going to call out the Jets for being elite in any category other than Hellebuck, and that's just life in Winnipeg. And if you take a look at the stats, their contribution, how the team's playing, everyone is just fine. It's a team effort. It's not an individual effort for the Jets at all. And finally, the pressure is off on the Jets as a whole, not just Blake Wheeler, but he has no C. He's got nothing to lose. He gets a hat trick last night, blowing up Colorado 5-0. The Jets are looking strong, but I'm going to put a huge caveat on this, Winnipeg fans, because I know there's a ton of you on this channel. I'm sorry, team. We are actually, it pains me to tell you, we are actually at the 50% or lower mark in all critical stat categories. So yes, we're doing it right now, but I really don't want those wheels to fall off. You know I do trust data. Moving on to number 5, it's the Edmonton Oilers. Oh, it's the Oilers. Hi, Oilers fans. How are you? What's up, Lance? You can't fix defensive issues with the Oilers. I don't know why. They're -4. They're -4, and they have the number 29 PK in the NHL. Why is that? Well, it's Captain Jack Campbell. Told you going in, he's ranked 70th now. You only have 4.75 years to go. The north of 30 netminder is being outplayed by Stuart Skinner. I told you you're going to have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows with Jack Campbell. He doesn't solve anybody's goaltending problem after you leave away from a guy like Mike Smith or Koskinen, because he is on the same roller coaster they are. So when you're going to commit to 5 years for a goalie, you better be committing with consistency. You didn't get it. However, Stuart Skinner does look great. McDavid and Draisaitl, they're +2. McDavid and Draisaitl are +2. 5-on-5. They lead the NHL in points. Rough. They're the deepest team that I have seen the Oilers. And now they're in a sophomore slump. Why? Because the kids got to carry, whether it's Broberg in the back, whether it's Dylan Holloway up front, whether it's Ryan McLeod, the kids got to start carrying and step up and be the depth of this team. It can't be McDavid and Draisaitl at all times. You can't just carry the big three. You have to have a team effort going through there. And there are a lot of young players on this roster who have played in 1, 2, or 3 Oilers seasons. And a lot of those guys who are in their second year right now are in a little bit of a sophomore slump, but they are on their way up. However, I did have the Oilers as winning the Pacific and a dominant team in the NHL. I was wrong there, and you were wrong if you haven't been paying attention to the Pacific, because they're in 4th. Hello, St. Louis!
Hello, St. Louis!
That's Springfield, Steven.
Oh, this is Springfield? No, this is St. Louis. Number 4, the St. Louis Streaks. 8-game losing streak. Binnington under 900. 7-game winning streak. Binnington over 500. Back to 1-3. They can't score. I'm not sure. Also, Binnington. The power play is down, unfortunately. They are 18% right now, down from number 2 in the NHL right to mid-pack. They were number 2 last year. It's where a lot of their goals came from. Unfortunately, they become pedestrian this year, so they're going to need to figure that out. And they're bottom of the NHL in shots, which we call Corsi, expected goals for, or high danger chances for as a percentage. The story for St. Louis is very simple when you see it in pictures here. They are awesome at getting chances on the net. They are red hot around the net, but their finishing is ice cold. Unfortunately, their expected goals are much higher than their actual goals by quite a wide margin. That's not exactly what you'd like to see. Their defense is giving up way too much in front of both of their goaltenders. However, their goaltenders have been all right. They've really only had a challenge with shots coming from this area. So at the end of the day, this is an elite team that can go on streaks. This is an elite team that can beat the best in the NHL, and this is a team that can also be beaten. Ville Husso was an absolute calming force for them. Look what he's doing for the Detroit Red Wings. He's absolutely fantastic. Jordan Binnington can win one of the best in the NHL when he's hot and can be one of the worst when he's cold. He can be a bit of a head case, but I say that with love, St. Louis. The number 3 is the Maple Leafs weird ways. I know you're shocked, right? This isn't number 1. Ryan loves picking on the Leafs, talking about the Leafs, or praising the Leafs. Basically anything for the Leafs gets you clicks, so Leafs, click below. Sorry, hockey market. It's the way she goes. Matthews can't score. Marner's off his line right now. If you haven't been paying attention to this Leafs, they broke up the dynamic duo. Batman and Robin are separated, and Mitch Marner is more important to Auston Matthews than anybody could have imagined, except for diehard, tuned in, well-versed hockey fans like all of you on this channel. Mitch Marner is the engine that drives Auston Matthews. He gets pucks. He is one of the fastest at retrieving pucks in the NHL. He's one of the most fearless in the corner. He's really good at causing turnovers, and he's really good at finding Matthews in space because he can make plays quickly. We've called Matthews a great white shark on this channel before because he circles, 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 circles. Unfortunately, he's not getting the puck on his stick as quick as he's used to, so by the time he does get the puck on his stick, he's high and near the blue line. So yes, he's getting a lot of chances. People will point that out down below in the comments that he's still getting the same amount of chances, but they're lower quality chances. These aren't chances in the slaughter around the net like Marner used to feed him. Speaking of Mitch Marner, man, this guy makes players. He's got a 17-game point streak going on right now. Guy's a beast, one of the best wingers in the world. Matt Murray, he's great when healthy. It's a big if, but he is great when healthy. He actually cracks into the top 10 this year. Wild. The power play has gone quiet from the #1 power play in the NHL last year. It will return, though. It 100% will return. This power play can't be kept off the boards for too long. There's way too many good players. There's too much talent here. They will flip it around, and when that power play flips around, expect them to continue climbing the standings, even though they are second, and Boston is in front of them with a sizable lead. They're on a heater. Go ahead over to Hockey Viz. We've taken a look at it a bit right now. We can see as they're on their heater, their actual team defense is fantastic. One of the best defensive teams in the NHL. Their goaltending has been absolutely stellar. Their offense has been pretty good. They just haven't been finishing. So exactly like I said, as soon as they find that scoring touch, they are going to rocket up the standings. Hey, maybe this is the year for the Leafs. Just kidding. Number 2 is the Shockers, the Devils. These guys, they may never lose again. They're amazing right now.
I never want to lose again.
Absolutely hot team. Banana sandwich, off to the races. Offensive juggernauts. We're going to talk all about the Devils this year. You've heard me praising them all year. I said, hey, they were my sleeper team to creep into the playoffs. No, I was dead wrong. They're the sleeper team to just blow up the NHL and get up there to the top chasing the Boston Bruins. The Islanders are doing really great this year, but they are being carried by Sorokin. The guy is insane. The Islanders are a good team. They have enough depth, but without Sorokin, this team doesn't go that far. And I know the voice of public opinion is always, well, the goaltender's on the team, or it's more than the goaltender. Yes, the goaltender's on the team. You're exactly right. He's part of the team. That's why the Islanders are good. You don't want to remove good players. Good players and good goalies make good teams. So fair point. When you have a good goalie and he's carrying you, it's not a big deal. It's part of the system. The coach bakes it in. So it's not a shot. It's just the truth. Sorokin is a big reason this team is going forward because clearly there's enough talent up there to get it done with him standing on his head. The Red Wings, good now, better later. One of the best prospect systems in the NHL, and they are overperforming right now, in my opinion. Ville Husso, again, showing why he's one of the best regular season goalies. Maybe he'll Curtis Joseph it, be a great regular season goalie, never win a cup. And finally, the Seattle Kraken are pretty good. 8-1-1, 5-game win streak. They are plus 15 in goal differential. This is no joke anymore. Maybe we were just 1 year late on the Kraken. All the analysis talking heads like me had the Kraken making the playoffs last year. They fell right to the basement. I didn't see enough changes this year to get them too far out the basement, but maybe they just needed a full year to gel. And finally, the number 1 biggest shocker is goal scorers focused on defense. This is where the regulars just don't understand hockey when you're focused on offense. There's 2 ways to the game, and when we take a look at 3 great examples like Matthews, Huberdeau, and Kyle Connor, these are 3 players I heard a lot throughout the year that people are worried about their scoring punch. Well, guess what? Auston Matthews is only 0.5 goals against per 60 minutes. However, he has 4.1 goals for on any line he plays for within the same 60 minutes. So that is a very good return for a coach. They don't care who's going to put it in. They just want to score more than the other team's going to score, and Matthews is doing that. There's a reason he was a Selke consideration last year. There's more to his game than scoring. Jonathan Huberdeau, Sutter makes two-way players. Let me repeat that. Sutter makes two-way players. Gaudreau and Tkachuk had their best years defensively under Daryl Sutter. He's changing Jonathan Huberdeau's name. Name? He's not changing his name. He's changing his game. Huberdeau's game is being changed and upgraded under Sutter. It's like changing a golf swing, like changing a baseball swing. It's uncomfortable at first for Huberdeau, but he'll get there. The points will come, and he'll be a beast on defense. Finally, Kyle Connor for the Winnipeg Jets. 2 goals in 14 games to start the season, but now he has 6 in 6. Same thing. Rick Bowness was changing him to be a more defensive player. He's a huge defensive liability along with the rest of the Jets last year. And now the goals will start coming. Great defense leads to fast neutral zone, leads to great offense. That's how hockey works. Play good defense, be rewarded with goals. So do not panic because there are a lot of other names on this list focused on defense first before their offense will come. All right, there you go. The top 10 craziest stories, I think, and interesting facts of the NHL right now. Let me know if I miss one down below by commenting down below. Big shout out to all my commenters and friends, and we will catch you in the next video.